Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were left for dead. And I am fully confident. I don't have to check the tapes. I don't have to look back to know I was one of them. We were part of that conversation nationally after they dropped to 4-8. Hey, if his thumb's broken, you got to see what you have in Jordan Love, right?
Yeah.
No.
For real.
No.
That
For real.
was the conversation on the last weekend in November, going into the game when they were 4-8. No question about it. Dead. Finished. Davante Adams was in much better position at that point in time in Vegas as they were starting to win games and not blow leads. And we were all wondering how this team would look with Davante Adams still, because these young kids were not doing very much. They weren't healthy enough. They weren't doing enough. And the running game wasn't significant enough. And Rodgers wasn't accurate enough. And Rodgers wasn't winning enough. The defense wasn't healthy enough. There was not enough for us to think that there was a way out. And here we are. On the first Monday of 2023. Here we are. On the first business day of this calendar year. And the Packers are in a win-and-in scenario.
Still alive.
In week 18. Still alive. Still alive. If you told them you have to win one home game against the Detroit Lions to make the playoffs, if we told them that going into the season, if we told them that at 4-8, even with the Lions performing as well as they have been performing, don't forget, the Lions were in the midst of a nice winning streak when they barely lost to the Bills at home on Thanksgiving. We're talking about the last weekend in November. Packers fans would have said, absolutely, we'll sign for that. Well, guess what? Now you got it. And just like we talked about with the Bucs, it does not matter one bit about the first 12 games of the season. It doesn't matter at all. Because the Packers are coming into these playoffs, or week 18, in the same way, I'll say it, the Niners went into last year's playoffs. The proverbial wild card team you don't want to see. Are they as good as last year's 49ers team? We could sit here and say for the first 12 weeks, no shot. Not a chance. You take Aaron Rodgers over Jimmy Garoppolo? I'll check that box. I'll check it. Every other way, are they as talented as the 49ers were last year? You would say no. But then again, I always go back to the movies and sports movies and iconic sports lines on this program, and I'll go back to the one for Miracle. I don't need the best players. I just need the right ones. That's it. I just need the right ones. And right now, the Packers have the right ones. Christian Watson's doing more than just catch touchdowns. Romeo Doubs is healthy.
The defense is finally
And
playing.
the defense is balling out.
Finally.
They're stopping the pass, and they're stopping the run on the way to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And A.J. Dillon is being rolled downhill in a way that we didn't see in the first 12 games.
I mean, they scored 41 points, and Rodgers had 159 yards.
Well, it's because they scored all three different phases.
Yeah.
And Rich Bisaccia, last year's interim head coach in Vegas, took that team to the playoffs, Mr. Special Teams Maven. I'll tell you what, if you're going to beat the Packers this year, it's not because their special team stinks.
Yeah.
That's why they lost in last year's playoffs. One of the many reasons, I guess. It's a team game.
And Jair Alexander, he talked about Justin Jefferson ain't all that.
Shut him down.
Man.
One
Shut
catch.
him down, dude.
One singular catch. Cousins hectored. They scored on a kickoff return. They scored on defense on a pick six, and they scored on offense. Aaron Rodgers ran one in himself even. Okay, they're feeling it. And it's kind of like maybe we're all on an ayahuasca trip. And because you ask Aaron Rodgers, and he is manifesting big time. Here's what 12 had to say in Green Bay after the game. 4 wins in a row, 8-8. Now they're full circle, blown out in Minnesota. They blew out Minnesota at home. They are now going into the final week with a win-1 home game against the Lions, who seem to be a different team on the road, outdoors. 1 win against the Lions away, and they're in. Hit it.
Feels really special. It does. It's been an interesting year. Hasn't been my best football at times, but I've been asked to step up my leadership, I think, and be someone that guys can count on to keep it together. You know, even when it doesn't seem like there's anything to play for, we don't have a chance to make a run. There's been a lot of special moments throughout the year, and it didn't look great for a while. And I was resigned to some of those realities being possible. And when I took my mind there, I had a peace about it. I had a peace about all of it. Whatever was supposed to happen, I was surrendered to that reality, with also the resolute mindset that we could still get back in this thing. And I think that's what I'm most proud of for myself and our team, is that there were a lot of different things that could happen, and we stuck together, and we put ourselves in position to do something special.
I totally understand the whole having a peace of mind when you stare into the abyss, and it turns out to be, if you have a peace about the reality of it, it's all good. I mean, I deleted Twitter off my phone last week. You know what I mean? Felt good.
It was great.
Went through
felt
it.
great to not check it for a week.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
No, the negativity that you were surrounded, it didn't suck at all to miss that.
Awesome.
And you put it back on this morning.
Oh, no, over the weekend.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But be that as it may.
He was going nuts yesterday.
Be that as it may. I'm kind of having a little fun with it, but the bottom line is, everybody make fun of his trips or his trippiness, or he's drinking the tea, or, you know, he's into one thing and then he's into another thing, and each one you're like, really, you're into that? It works for this guy. It works for him. And you know what also works for him? These young receivers knowing where to be and catching the football and making plays, and the run game working, and Bakhtiari's back, and the defense is rampaging.
It only took 17 weeks.
It doesn't matter. It's taken enough. It took the only thing that matters about how long it took is that they're not already in. They got to win one more.
Right.
Tampa's in. For this 12 to get in, they got to win one more. And the Lions have a lot to play for, too. But the bottom line is, I have made a note. I have made a note to myself. Next year, I'm not going to go all in on a team that's lost for their first 12. Not anymore. Not when there's a 17th regular season game going on. By the way, thank goodness, you Packers fans, for that 17th regular season game, because if it was just 16 games, you'd be out. You'd be out, and Seattle would be in. And Seattle would be the one going to San Francisco, and San Francisco would be like, bring it. You know who San Francisco doesn't want to see to bring it? Green Bay. And I know you Niner fans will be like, yeah, well, we punked them last year in their house. Exactly. Because the narrative last year, and I'll just front load everybody here, the narrative last year after San Francisco bounced Green Bay was, Green Bay's offense is not set up for the freezing cold. It's set up for more for San Francisco's weather.
It's set up for road games.
It's set up for road games. Guess where they'd have to go? San Francisco. Okay? And Jimmy G might be able to have Brock Purdy's first career start going against the defense that you saw yesterday do what it just did to Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins. Okay. And Jarrett Stidham just carved up that defense. You don't think Rodgers could do that? And I understand it's a week-to-week league. I'm just pointing out week-to-week leagues that we overreact to. Fine for the regular season to use that. When you hit the playoffs, all bets are off. And the narrative is what it is, to use the phrase. And what it is right now is Green Bay playing out of their skulls. and one win. Hey, rest of the NFC, I said it on Christmas Day. I got a whole bunch of grief. That's the last one of the last tweets I sent out before I deleted Twitter, which, like, do not let this guy Rodgers get hot, and do not let the Packers in the tournament, NFC. Well, guess what? They're coming. They're coming, and it would make the NFC playoffs that much more interesting. It would make them fascinating. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.